Hello everybody, Steffi here from The Makers. Welcome to our needle felting tutorial of how to make this little Highland coo. I'm trying to remember how I was taught to say it when I was in Glasgow, and I think it's Highland coo. And you have to say it with a slightly higher pitched voice as well. So this is the little Highland coo that we're making today. I apologize to everybody Scottish if I'm saying this in a completely wrong way, but this is basically it. So you've got little horns made from silk clay, which of course comes in the kit. It's got wire, little bits of wire for legs and the spine, and then a really nice sort of red top which we're mixing to give a variegated look, and little glue-in eyes as well, can't see that one, and of course the all famous fringe that these Highland cows have got. But before I do anything else, I'm going to just check that I'm actually live and that all is going well. I think that two events have been created accidentally, so I can see that some of you are there, and Serena is there, and I'm just going to have to message Colette because she's watching as well to make sure that she is joining the right event. Just bear with me. Okay, right, sorry, I can't talk and write all at the same time. Apologies for this, but it's just another little technical glitch from my side. Let's say hello. So we have got Serena, hi Serena, Diane, Carol, Alex, Katrina, and Sherry, Lorna, Gina, hi Steffi, and all fluff friends from a damp Lincolnshire. I didn't think I was going, oh, it jumped. I didn't think I was going to make it, as we have had a thunderstorm and it kept taking the internet off. Yeah, that was the forecast for us here as well, but I haven't seen it. Maybe it's yet to come. Ellie is there. Hi Ellie. Hi everyone, says Ellie. Got some lovely thunder and lightning going outside. I hope it's going to be all right. We don't want thunder and lightning now. Carol is there. Another Carol that is. And Michael. Hi Michael. Nice to see you, Serena. Nice to see you, Anne. Ulla is watching. Rain is watching, and Elaine. Right, let's see how the figures are going up. But what I wanted to show you first of all is, if you have got our little Highland coo kit, then I'm going to show you what you would find inside, and that would help to make the Highland cow. However, I'm sure that from this tutorial you can source your own things potentially as well, and have a go at it. Remember, the video or the tutorial stays on our Facebook page, but it is also on YouTube, so you might be watching this at any point on either platform. Right, so this is typically what you find in our kit, and I've just unpacked that kit, and to be perfectly honest, I thought, do you know what, this is no mean feast, because I have seen other kits, I won't mention any name, and things just rattle around in the kits. I think that our kits are actually really good value for money, because you get a lot in there. So for starters, you've got a flexible steel wire here. We need that in a minute first. You've got some Mangslauten top here, some orange South American top. I'm not entirely sure, it does tell me what it is. It's a bit of Dutchel Texel top. Then you've got our very popular fox red variegated wool. People love this one for foxes, but also for Highland cows. That's all the wool covered. Then you get in there your glue-in eyes in a little paper envelope. And then, sadly, we do need to use plastic in this kit for wrapping our silk clay, so that it is absolutely tightly, not waterproof, airtight. So we've now got it so that you've got a Ziploc bag, and then we fuse it again a little bit below it to make sure that it stays nice and pliable for you when you're ready to use it. And it's yet again in another bag, but that will keep it nice and moist so that you can mold it. And I'm going to knead this in my hand because this is what I'm going to use first to make the horns. Then you've got your felting needles. You will have 2 coarse and 1 medium in there, and then our eco-friendly wool mat. Now during the tutorials you might know I don't use these wool mats because I've got my felt covered earth-friendly felting mat there. So I'm going to put all of this to one side. I have got my handy little dish that Colette bought me, but if you haven't got your handy little dish and you've got one of these, they're just as good to keep your eyes safe. Or as I made Carol laugh, to rest your eyes. Yes, rest your eyes on. But yeah, it was a little bit misunderstood. So anyway, I'm going to make a set of horns first, because by the time, well, it'll take a little bit longer than an hour, but you have got a handy template in the back of your instructions. The silk clay is air drying. This is a good practice maybe to give Sean a go, because Sean uses silk clay as well for his legs and his arms, our Sean the Sheep kit. So make it into a long sausage first, something like that, and then eventually it needs to fit that template. So if it's not long enough yet, just make it a little bit longer. You can also pull it a little bit. With silk clay you can smooth it over if you make your fingertips a bit wet with water. That looks good. And then what you want to do is you want to roll a little thinner bit here in the middle there. Now you can make these horns quite pointy, depends how the horns are faring on your Highland coo, on your Highland coo. And I'm quite happy with this now, so I'm going to put this to one side and let it dry. Okay, it won't dry entirely by the time I finish, but it'll be good enough to work with it, because you can work with it when it's sort of half finished. Now I do what I did before. I'm got a pad here, and I'm going to write down what I'm mentioning so that I can refer you to these parts in our website. So I'm going to put silk clay down first of all, but now I'm going to put flexible steel wire there as well. Now this will only work on our Facebook tutorial, because I'm going to put that right at the very end into the comments. Right, so flexible steel wire you need to cut into 3 equal parts, and I have got my handy scissors. Now for these, either will work, either the flat-nosed pliers, sorry, I said scissors but I mean pliers, or the flat long-nosed or flat-nosed pliers. And of course on the left hand of our instruction sheet there's a handy tape measure, so I'm just using that now. Cut 15 centimeters. It does work much better with pliers. Okay, I'll give you that. I shouldn't really use scissors, as I always do. Right, 2. Now if this looks a little bit familiar what I'm doing here, that is because we've used that same technique on the reindeer, but also on the wild boar piglets that you might have had in your maker's box this last month. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare the 3 wires so that I can have them as my spine and my legs. Now in the instruction it tells you to do the spine first, and there is a reason. The reason is that the spine will be right inside the cow, so it doesn't matter if it doesn't look so neat, but you're basically wrap the wispy wool around one end of the wire. And you can use a little bit of glue to make it stick. You can use lanolin, you can use woolly wax, which we're in the process of getting ready for you to put more on the website. In any case, once you've wrapped a little bit, you're going to bend the wire in so that the wool is trapped now. And then you're going to continue along that wire so that the whole length of the wire is covered with wool. If you do find this difficult, don't be afraid to add a bit of glue on there. It is completely inside the Highland cow, and you won't see it. And I'm just going to put down woolly wax so that you know where to find it at the end. Now I've just from this, wrapping it that way, I've just switched it round, so the wool is still in the same hand. I've just literally turned the whole thing round, because this is an easier way of wrapping wool around wire by twisting the wire itself and allowing the wool to slip through your fingers. This is such a fabulous colour, honestly. Such a nice red, variegated red. Really love this wool. Go all the way to the other end. Now it doesn't matter if it's not so neat, it doesn't matter if it's a little bit loose. Go all the way to the other end, bend that wire in as well by about 1/2 centimeter. The less you can bend it in, the better. And then just get rid of the excess wool. Now you don't need to felt this down. Sorry, got my nose in there. You don't need to felt it down. It can just stay exactly like that. And that main body spine is going to be bent into that shape. This is why these templates are so handy. So you just lay it out on there and then just follow that shape. There you go. So that is the main body done. Now the templates are also brilliant because you can always see where you need to add more wool to it. So that's why we have templates in literally, well, in almost all of our instructions now. Yes, so more and more we are adding them more and more as and when needed. So the next thing we are going to do is we're going to prepare the 2 legs. But before I do this, I'm just going to have a little check-in. Who is doing what and who is there, and if other people have joined us. Right, let's see who's here today. I'm just going to have a look on the comments. So we've also got, oh, it's jumping around, sorry. Colette is there. Diane has the storm as well. Oh, I'm waiting for it. Oh, it looks awful out there, I will be honest. Oh my god. Okay, I'm not even going to look. Sarah Jane is there. Hi from wet London. Okay, London is wet too then. Hi Laura. Who else have we got? Rain, you've got the right name for this weather today. We've had a thunderstorm here in Kent. Gosh, it was definitely forecast, but we haven't had it yet, so maybe it's coming our way. Oh, Jane said we had the thunderstorm late this afternoon. Well, Jane, you're a little bit south of us, so I don't know. We had rain and only a few rumbles, no lightning, says Lorna. Saw the coronation and the concert Sunday evening. This is Jane. And after Colette asked, how was everybody's coronation weekend? Of course, we've just had the long bank holiday weekend. Oh, sorry, I'm just getting lost in all the chats. Gina says, love having templates. Yeah, they've been the best thing since we've added them into our instructions, I will be honest. Oh, we've got, oh gosh, oh my goodness, how am I meant to pronounce this name? So this is something Celtish, I want to say. Married, you have to send a message through and tell me how you pronounce, how I should pronounce your name. And the surname is just as bad for me to pronounce, so I do apologize. That's like all of you reading some very, very strange German names. Evening everyone, says Michelle. Really looking forward to this tutorial. Excellent. Sandra is there. Serena, oh gosh, it's gone. It's jumping. We had run on the afternoon school. We had, on the afternoon, but soon cleared up. I think you probably think the weather, you had it at the, May Reed, that's how you pronounce it. Thank you so much for letting me know. Linda is there from Asheville. It's jumped in the USA. Is NC, is that New York City? Oh, I'm so bad. I really don't know. What is NC? Oh, I feel so embarrassed that I don't know these things. So apologies. Anyway, what I do know is how to make a Highland coup. So therefore, let's go back to that. Right, so now with the legs, we need to work a little bit finer, and I will just explain to you why. So the legs, obviously, you will be more visible. Let's get this. Oh, it's really raining now. If the thunder comes, I'll let you know. Not that I'm excited by it. I don't like thunder. So you can see that the legs are, even though they get covered a lot, but they have a little bit of a finer point here. So I'm trying to keep that relatively neat. So you with a Manxlauten, because it is a top actually, you can tease it off so that you've got a strand of wool that's ready made for you. So it makes it easier to keep it a bit tight, neater as well. But like I said, please don't be afraid to put a little bit of glue at the end of your wire if you find it hard for the wool to stay in exactly the place where you want it to be. The main thing is you keep your wool narrow, flat and narrow, and you work really close to the wire. That way you've got the most control over your wool. Then you bend the end in, so that bend needs to be covered with wool, and then you go over it again to cover that parallel end of the wire, and then you go all the way to the other side. So that's quite a neat foot that I'm doing here. In fact, you're not going all the way, you're going about halfway with that wool. Now the thing what people often say is when you get to the end, and you keep wrapping the wool around the wire, it won't stay around the wire by itself. So you either have to go back on itself again around the wool to make it stick around itself, or if you continue up the wire you will have to use a little bit of glue. So I haven't quite gone all the way to where I want it to go, so I'm going to take another strand, smaller bit. I'm going to start in that same direction that I started before and put a layer over the top, so that still isn't long enough. Oh dear, I've built it up a little bit. So I'm, okay, last attempt. So you have to start on the wool and you have to finish on the wool. That is the best way to make the wool sort of stick to itself, is by starting on the wool and finishing on the wool. Now if you've got bits sticking out, then you can start needle felting them in if you want to. Oh, I think there's just been a bit of lightning, and I'm just stabbing it into the wool now. So you can stab the wool at the very end. That will also make it stay on, obviously. Now that's one end, and I'm going to do the other end. Now I'm going to do the other end a little bit faster, and then the second set of legs a lot faster, so we don't have to wait too long for this. Right, so get the wool established, pull it nice and tight with every wrap, bend the end in, build up the wool layers around the bent end, and then work your way up the leg. Keep it nice and tight. Sometimes I do 2 wraps and then I go over it again, because the wool top, whilst it is easier to wrap it because it's more like the ribbon sort of effect that I always talk about, keep it flat and neat like a ribbon, it also isn't sticking to itself as much as the wool bat does, which is what we used for the spine. But just go back and let the wool grip around itself, right to the very last tiny little wispy end, and then add a little bit more to build up a little bit of a layer. And most of this won't be visible, as you can see here now. There's only very little of the leg that you can actually see. So use small strands. That very same wool we're also going to use for the fringe of the cow. Not that I'm suggesting for 1 minute that you will use all of it, because there's really loads. So there you have your set of legs with a gap in the middle. And now we're going to do the second set. And I've got all of this wool here still left, so I do need a little bit for my mix into the fringe and into the top coat, but there is plenty of wool here to do this. So I'm working with the second wire now. Wrap the wool around the end, exactly the same, bend the end of the wire in, add glue to it if you wish to make the wool stick a bit more, and then work your way up the leg all the way until you run out of wool, or maybe you don't. But in any case, if you do run out of wool, wrap it around itself rather than going on the wire and finishing on the wire. Finish on the wool, that definitely works better, all the way to the middle, and then stop in the middle and then do the other side separately. If at any point you feel you need to just stab it a little bit, use your medium felting needle and just stab very gently, not into the wire but just next to the wire. That will also help the wool to stay on. And then finally the last end, 4th foot, starting here. So put the wool round and round and round, build up some layers, get the wool established, bend in, and then wrap the wool up the leg. Keep it nice and tight. If you get sort of a loose bit, then just pull it tight before you continue wrapping, and that way you do get eventually a nice neat wrap, even if you have to go over it again. So the second layer should sort out whatever might be a little bit off underneath that first layer, and then go over it again. I've got some exciting news in that we've got another really lovely, beautiful bird workshop taking place that's run by Agnes. And if you remember, she did this really absolutely realistic, beautiful little robin. Gosh, when was this? In January, I think. And she is doing something very similar, but it's a cold tit, and I can't begin. I've seen the bird for real, and it is just like you wouldn't believe that it's not real. And here are the details. So it's a lovely little realistic cold tit with tiny little realistic legs that she's so famous for, and she has a particular technique which you'll never guess of how to get the feathery look and that particular marking on the wings so realistic. And I'm not going to tell you what she does, but I was very surprised when she told me. So this is taking place from 9 until 5 p.m. On Friday the 14th of July. At our workshop in Nailsworth. If you are interested in this, it will be listed as a workshop on our website. It probably isn't yet, but in the meantime you can give us a call and you can book or drop us an email, info@themakers.co.uk, and the price is £100 per person. It is a masterclass, so you will have to have needle felted before, and it includes all the materials and refreshments, including lunch, and we always have extra treats as well. So if you're interested in that, don't hang around. We've only got limited spaces. Our workshop space isn't as big as some of you might be used to me teaching workshops. So yes, do get in touch if you're interested in that, and that should be fun. Right, I've got 2 sets of legs, and I've got 1 body. And I need to put them together now. So I'm going to do that in a minute. I'm just going to check in how everybody's doing. Oh, thank you. Mary, she said, don't apologize, you did ace. Well, I did try, but now looking at your name, it's probably exactly how it's pronounced. It's just the little hyphens on top of it that confused me. North Carolina. Oh, I knew that. Silly me. I'm so sorry. I apologize to all American citizens that I don't get this. Oh gosh. Okay. Sherry is there. I woke up at 5 this morning to a thunderstorm here in Tennessee. Sun is shining now. Oh, so you've sent this our way, no doubt. Just love the way Steffi says Highland cow. Yes, well, I was taught in Scotland, in Glasgow, I was taught, and they said it's called Highland coo. That's what it is. And you have to say it. I honestly can't say it now with this slight expression. So it's a Highland coo. Yeah, it's not just the words, it's the expression as well. Maureen is there. She says she's so pleased to have made it to the making of the cow. Yes, I am trying my Scottish accent. I thought that she was exaggerating until I heard Andy the Highlander say it. I'm not exaggerating, that's how they say it. It is honestly the honest truth, unless they were all having me on. It is, they say Highland coo. So anyway, never gonna get to the end of these chats. Okay, I've got to get off the chats because otherwise I'll just get sucked in. Okay, we're here to make a cow, so let's do this, right. So we've got this spine and the legs already now. Now this is when the templates on the back come in handy again, because, oh no, not on this one. This is when the instruction come in handy, because what you do is, having bent this in this particular bend here, you're going to put the legs, and the way to bend them, you have them facing upwards. So you bend them up first, like wings, and then you twist them around and bend them down. So it is, this is how they get fastened on. So they've been wrapped around it, literally twice actually. Now you need to bend this little end of the spine up a little bit, just so that the hind legs don't slip off. And then you repeat that exact same thing. So you bend them up as if they're pointing up, and then you just twist them all the way around and down. And then you've got a very, very simple A-frame of a very basic wire armature with wool cover. It is the best way of making these little animals I have found. It is just, it's so basic. When people talk about wire armature, it doesn't have to be complicated. And what you're doing next is you're going to use this lovely fox red variegated, and you're going to start, this is actually the wrong cow, sorry. It's this cow. We're making this one only because I made another one with a different color wool, which is also possible. So now you're going to secure these joints that you've just sort of wrapped around, and by using the fox rust brown, no, this is not the fox rust brown, the fox red variegated, and wrapping it around the joints first. And then I'm going to get rid of it by wrapping it around the body. At this point, the legs might 1 minute point one way and then another minute the other way. Now, if you want to take off strands of this wool, just take it apart a little bit, and you'll see sort of which way the fibers run. It's when they're sort of slightly bouncy when you pull them. And then you can just tease off strands. And then you're going to fasten on the back here as well. So we're strengthening the joint here by wrapping a little bit of wool around it, so that we just and if this happens, if your cow becomes a contortionist, that's absolutely fine, because you can very easily bend it back into exactly the shape you want it to be. But from now on, thereafter, you're going to build bulk. Okay, so you're going to go round the body. And there are several ways of building bulk. One is by just keep wrapping more generous layers of wool around the wire, and then later on we target the bulk building a little bit more specific. But for now, wrap the wool around the main part first, and when you have built up sort of a decent layer, then you're going to take your coarse felting needle and you're going to stab it into the wool to start securing it. Now you have to be mindful that you have got a wire inside that shape, so make sure you don't stab right into it. Make sure you stab around it. By the way, I've worked this weekend, I've worked on Tatty Teddy. I am so excited, honestly, he is just the best. I just want to make lots and lots of them. I've made the second one, and he looks adorable. Do you want to see him? Just let me know in the comments if you want to see him. And I've also got to ask you another question, but I am assuming you do want to see him, because you wouldn't say no, would you? And I'm going to get him now. And I will show him to you because I love him so much. He's coming now. Okay, here we go. Right, because we've now got the final, definitely final approval of him also holding this beautiful little heart. Look at that. Isn't he the sweetest? Oh, I can't wait for you to make him. Look. It's a beautiful wool that we're using here. One that we don't use too much, but for this particular project, it's just absolutely perfect. And you have to watch out for him for the pre-orders for our Teddy, because it's going to be probably sort of in the first week of June, coinciding with our birthday. Birthday Teddy, yay! And he's got this lovely little heart that he's holding, so it can be a really nice gift to yourself or somebody else. Anyway, there's the other one. I've made two now, so oh, look at them. Lovely. I love Tatty Teddy. Yes, but the question I really did want to ask you is, it occurred to me earlier, I'm actually a little bit scared myself of cows, Highland cows, any cows, horses, anything that's quite big on four legs. And I was wondering if you ever had a cow encounter, an encounter. Did you ever have an encounter? Oh dear, this is such a bad pun. Have you ever, maybe you haven't had an encounter with a bull? And let's hear your stories, because I've got some to tell too. But in the meantime, whilst you're thinking and typing them out, I will start on the head. So I've got this little bit of the head here that's obviously not the final shape. So now I need to build that part up as well. And I follow the shape by wrapping the wool around it, but it gets a little bit lost, and that's exactly what we want. We don't want it to be just this scrawny little neck and this scrawny little face. It's going to get quite a lot more bulky, because Highland cows have got big heads and big faces. So I'm going to stab that down now, building up the shape more and more and more. So at this point, you've got quite still like stick legs, and they're sort of like an A-frame. If you look at this, they're quite close together here at the top and quite at the back. So we need to do something about that. And to do something about this is by lying your cow on his back, and then you're going to start you're building layers of wool around the bottom area by spreading the legs sideways and adding a wad of wool over the lower back and over the bottom and onto the tummy. So it's, I know this sounds always really weird, but it's a little bit like putting a nappy onto your cow. So lay a layer of wool that way and then stab it down. So obviously stab it down from the underneath, and then you have to turn the cow over and stab it down from the other end as well. I'm going to get rid of my I'm using the coarse needle at the moment, and then stab it down from the top as well. So that will have now put more bulk between the legs, so that they're not just this tightly pinched frame anymore. They're slightly now sprawled out, and we're going to bend them back again. Obviously I'm not going to leave them like this, but just felt it down for now, so that he's now got a bit of a bottom. And it's felted down quite softly at the moment, because we're building bulk all the time. And if you felt it down quite softly, you've got a lot of scope to sculpt it still. And every time you add more bulk, you can always stab the needle in quite a lot still. So then you felt it on the top, which you've just done, and then you do this the similar way. You do this, build the bulk on the chest area by adding thick layers of wool and felt them down. So this time we're going from the tummy towards the neck underneath the cow. Felt it down on the sides, all around, and onto the head, underneath the head. I mean, to be honest, you can, if you have to, you can go sort of go round the head. At the moment, any bulk is welcome, because we have to build quite a lot still. And you do know that we have to build quite a lot still, because if you put your little Highland cow onto the template, you will see that there's a lot of scope of adding bulk to it still. Right, get that felted down. And then you can bend the legs down again, but now the legs have got that space in between, so they're no longer pinched, because you have built. Can you see that? It was like an A-frame, now it's more like a U here, the shape of a U. Okay, so the one story that I will tell you, that I had an encounter with a cow. So my husband and I, we used to go running a lot, and we used to live near the sea, well, near the estuary, the Avon estuary, and I would always run along the Avon Mouth River, but there were obviously these sea defences, and on just beyond the sea defence there was literally grassland, and the farmer had the cows on there. And I would avoid it like anything. I'd say to my husband, "Oh no, I'm not running there because the cows are out." And he would say, "You just have to stand your ground with cows." And so on one occasion, when we ran together, he said, "Look, this is what you do." And he stood himself up and he went like, "Oh, go away!" like this, and they're all like, "Oh," going away. So I thought, that's how you do it. That's a good idea. So the next time I was running along this particular path, I was very brave. I climbed the fence. It was a public footpath. I was meant to be on there. And I'm like, okay, there's the cows, everything's good. And I did this like, choo, 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 go away. And they all went away, but one. And I saw myself face to face with this ginormous bull. It was, oh my God, it was so big. It just looked at me like really grumpy. And I thought, oh no, I was too far away from the gate to run. And I've just literally froze. But fortunately, the sea defense, which were big rocky boulders, was about, I don't know, a couple of meters to my right. So I edged myself ever so absolutely mortified to the right, and I continued for I don't know how long, for a long time, what felt a long time, climbing over the boulders to get away from the bull until I felt like I was safe and I could rejoin the meadow. But yeah, he wasn't budging. So yes, anyway, that's my story. Okay, let's have a look at yours. And of course, all of this, I can read all these stories because you are putting these in the comments on our Facebook Live here. When you watch this at any time in the future on YouTube or on Facebook, you might not quite get the joke of other people telling their story. But anyway, oh my goodness, you've got lots of cow stories. Oh gosh. So, yes, when I was younger, my dog used to run off and roll around in cow poo. Oh dear. Embarrassing walking home with her. She looked green covered in. Well, you want to meet our dogs who love to eat it, and they have cow pad breath for the rest of the day. Katrina says, I was fascinated with cows when I was a child. I was always trying to pet them. No bull encounters, but I stepped in a few cow pies and got peed on. Oh dear, my birthday is in June. I know that what I will be asking for. Oh, I see. Okay. No, not a cow, I imagine. My grandparents used to live in Sharpthorne, and there was a farm the other side of the railway, the Bluebell. Their garden overlooked the exit to the tunnel. This is Ellie. To them. Sometimes there were horses, sometimes there were cows. Granny didn't like cows because they cough, so I don't think we were allowed too close because they cough. So a memory is somewhat hazy of a lot of my childhood. Granny didn't like cows because they cough. They cough, so I don't think we were allowed too close to them. Oh my goodness, coughing cows. That's hilarious. Sherry says, my mum told me that when she was growing up, they had a cow that she was scared of, and the cow knew it. One day she needed to cross the pasture, and the cow was there. My mum stood at the fence and called out for her older sister, who came and walked with her. Oh. Oh dear. Oh my goodness, there's so many encounters. Rain says, I had an encounter with a horse in a field. I was stroking his nose and he started to chew the cuff of my coat and was pulling it into his mouth. I had to really yank my arm to get my coat out of his mouth. I was scared he was going to eat my hand. Oh dear. That is hilarious. Oh gosh. Oh my goodness. Okay, lots and lots of comments, but we are making a cow here. Yes, well, I have got many other encounters, but they are more to do with the cow pads than the actual cows. I did actually once climb a big old cherry tree, and I need to go to the overhead camera. I can do this while I'm building bulk, and and the farmer came. We were in the farm in a field, and we weren't really meant to be there, so this was trespassing as children. And I was in the top of the tree, well, not quite the top, but quite high up, what felt quite high up, and I was eating the cherries, picking the cherries off the tree, and the farmer came and he shouted up the tree and he said, like, "Oi, what are you doing there? Get off my land!" And I had my friend was also in the tree, and she was a little bit like, literally like Pippi Longstocking. I swear to you, she was just like that. She was 3 years older than me, and she had really red piggy tail hair, and she had freckled face, and she was very brave and tomboyish, and she said to the farmer, she said, "Come and get us. We'll be down quicker before you are up." Anyway, I think he felt a little bit like challenged by this, so he made this, what I now know, this attempt to climb the tree, and in my panic I just let go and I fell down the tree, and I winded myself terribly, but I did land absolutely flat on in a massive big cow pad. And yeah, that was not such a nice memory, but now it's quite funny to think of it. Right, so cow is taking shape quite nicely. Let's have a look how that fits with the template. That's always the test, isn't it? So once you've got the template there, so the legs need to be a little bit further back, so that's good to know. Can still do everything at this point, and definitely need to build more bulk all around, so that's good. Right, let's read on in the instructions where we go from here. So your shape will look a little like this now, and you will need to continue adding bulk. This is where I am at now. Continue by adding layers of wool around the head, and use the basic body template again and felt down to firm up and shape. So basically what I'm going to do from now on, I'm literally just going to look at the template, I'm adding wool, felt it down, look at the template, adding wool, felt it down, and then by at some point I want to be at that shape. Okay, so I need to add more wool and felt it down and continue working like this. Okay, so that's the head now. Felt it down. Now the nice thing about doing a Highland cow is that you don't have to give them very many sort of facial features, if any, because a lot of it is covered with that fringe that hangs into the face, so that's quite a good way to cover up some of the things that you might not want it to show. So I'm starting to shape that quite straight line here by felting into the ridge of the bridge of the nose. And remember, wherever you stab the needle is where the reduction takes place. Just don't stab yourself. No reduction will take place there. Just a lot of ouch noises and maybe a little hole that you've created intentionally. So yeah, no, definitely cow pad. I think I've told the other story before, that this said friend, who was a bit like Pippi Longstocking to me anyway, she also persuaded me one day that the best treatment for a tree, if a branch is broken off, which happened to have happened to one of our favorite climbing trees, we managed to break a branch off, which was quite essential for getting up on the tree. She said the best way to fuse the branch back on is by collecting cow pad and then smearing that onto so like a wound healer basically on the tree, smearing that around the tree where the branch was, and then wrapping it up, so that and then the branch would grow back on again. I mean, it was completely off the branch, right? So we had cows that were every day on their way up and down from the village. So up into the pasture in the morning, and then down for milking, whenever that was, I can't remember. Anyway, it must have been the summer holidays, because we were out, and so every time they went up and down the road, they would obviously do their business. So we waited, and then we picked up lots and lots, and initially we picked it all up with plastic bags covered around our hands, and that became so messy and horrible that in the end we just used our hands and smeared it on the tree, covered it all up, and guess what, it didn't work. But yes, so that was another incident that involves cows or whatever they leave behind. So yes, quite a lot to say about cows. Okay, so how are we doing now? Getting there. Need a bit more bulk around the body. Put that around the body now. So at some point when you look at the template, you might find that actually the bulk, I can't achieve that now by wrapping wool around it. I need to add the bulk a little bit more specific, so maybe around the shoulders or around the bum, and at that stage you use wool wads rather than wool wraps to add onto the cow. So I'm just going to felt this down a little bit and then assess the situation so I can explain it to you. Now another useful tip is that when you make a shape like this, sometimes it doesn't look right, but it's not right because you've done anything wrong. It's just not right because the wire has been bent out of shape. So you're going to have to just give it a little bit of a tweak, and suddenly everything's completely different, looks completely different. So if you look at your cow, you want the back slightly curved and the tummy slightly the opposite way. And that makes a huge difference straight away to how your cow looks. So it hasn't got that bulging back, bulging out. And then also, don't be afraid to tuck the legs out a bit, because they might have got a little bit swallowed up in the bulk building. So give them a bit of a tuck. You know that you can't pull them off because they're wrapped around that body wire very securely. So you know that they're not going to be pulled out. You just know that you can pulled out entirely. You can just lengthen them a little bit again there. And a lot of what happens with the Highland cow is when you add the top coat as well. So even though you are shaping and bulking the cow up now, it will not have its final look until you add that silky cover on. Now at some point you need to build up the upper leg part, and to do this you go from your just the end of your leg up the foot, up the leg, and then you're going to leave the end of the wool and felt it down into the cow. So that transitions from the leg then into the side of the side of the cow. Felt it down. Now we're not building any muscle mass or anything like this, because we're going to cover a lot of it with the woolly strands later, not later but very soon. So just cover that part, that upper part of the leg, and felt it down. So that's a way to cover the legs and securing the wool onto the body so that it doesn't come off. And then you're going to do that on the hind legs as well. So just take a small strand, start a little bit away from the foot, wrap it around, and then felt it down into the body of the cow to secure. Push that in a bit. Don't be afraid to pull and prod and poke your make, because you can't break it. And then we do that on the last one here as well. So I feel that the cow should have a little bit more of a bottom, because the legs are quite far back and I want them to be a little bit further forward. I will pull them forward a bit, push them forward a little bit, bend them a bit, but I think we need to give this cow another layer of a bum here. So now I'm building a specific layer by teasing the wool apart and laying it on top of each other, so I get a nice little wad And then I'm literally just putting that where I want the bulk to be built and felt it down around the edges first, like this. And I'm still using my coarse needle. There is a fine needle in the kit, which will be handy later on when you're using it with the wool tops or when you do any sort of finer work. There. And that's getting there. We're getting there. Now this part of the coat, you can't see. This part here is going to be really emphasized when the horns are going in. So I'm not too worried that it's a little bit less prominent right now. But I still think we need more bulk on the cow. Okay, so a bit more. Wrapping. I felted it down quite firmly, so get that on there. Felt it down. It's sort of medium firm. It's not very, very tightly felted down, but it's not squishy, not too squishy either. This wool felts down like a dream. Really good. And you can bend the feet forward a little bit, so they don't have to be so, can have sort of a slight bend in them. If you want to make a larger Highland cow with more detailed features, we do have a large Highland cow pack that we sell. I'm just going to write that down. Large Highland cow. And it allows you to make a bigger version of it. It used to be one of our maker's boxes, and you get to make the hoofs and the nose from silk clay as well as the horns. So and it's a good size. It's a good big size. Right. So I feel that maybe just build up the face a little bit more at the front. So again, where you're specifically trying to build bulk up, use the method of using the watts rather than the wraps, or a combination of both. But I'm just making the snout a bit longer. So there are two ways of building bulk when you do a wire armature. One is by wrapping, and one is by adding watts, what I call watts. And then always felt them down around the edges before you edge your way towards the area that you're actually trying to build down. Because if you felt that down first, you flatten that straight away, and then you've just got bits sticking out on the sides. So get the bits down first around the edges, and then work more on the area that needs felting down at the end. So that's definitely made it longer, and you might have to repeat that again. Don't want to flatten it now, and we need to add the nose into there in a minute, which is what I'm going to do next. I'm quite happy with this. You can make this head a lot bigger, but like I say, we are going to put the horns into the top later on, so I don't need to do that right now. I'm just going to follow the instructions to make sure I'm going in the right order. Actually, the nose it's not the turn of the nose yet, it's the turn of the ears. So for this, you're going to use a little bit of this Manxlauten here, the brown and the orange wool top basically. So a bit of that, and then this one that we haven't used yet. These two. And you're going to tease these apart and mixing them at the same time. So you're mixing wool by teasing them apart, overlaying them in the same direction over and over until you've got a nice new mix. So try, especially when you're putting the top coat on later, this is really essential that you do it this way. So don't try to stop yourself from crossing them, keep them running in the same direction until you've got a nice mix. Now this is potentially going to make 2 ears, so I'm going to split it in half, and I'm going to fold this in half now, like that. And then I'm just going to fold the top end down a bit so it's a bit clearer. But basically what you're doing is you've got this folded in half, and then you're folding one side down towards the center and the other side. And you felt that flat on your mat into a triangular, well, a very rough triangular shape. Now, I haven't mixed it very well, but it will be absolutely fine, because Highland cows have actually got extremely hairy ears, so they need to be looking a little bit messy. So I'm just needle felting the tip, not the tip of the ear, but just the ear itself, rather than, and I'm going to go to my medium needle for this as well. Turn it over and felt the other side. But we do want the ears to be quite hairy and fluffy. And I'll repeat this on here as well. So what I've done is I've folded in half, like this. And then I fold one side in and then the other side, so that I have a rough triangular shape, but it's not that triangular. It's more like a rounded, it's almost like a little tapered shape. Once you felt it down, you have to lift it off your mat quite quickly. And this is probably one of the ears that you don't have to be so neat felting them down, because when you look at Highland cows' ears, they are extremely messy looking, because they're so hairy and furry and fluffy. So we don't need to have perfect ears. They can be quite a bit fluffy and untidy. In any case, these wispy ends, if you've got quite a lot, you can tease them off, and you want to open them up. Now they do have the ears sticking out on the side of the head, like that. And you also have to remember that it needs the horn going in. So the horn is in front of the ears. So put the ears round about here and felt the wispy ends in. Don't worry if it looks a bit weird. Remember, a lot of this will be covered in that same mix that I've just made. Get the ears on, sticking out on the side by stabbing into these wispy ends, and then just have a look what it looks like. That looks okay. And then do the other side. Take a few wisps off if you've got quite a lot there. You're literally tearing them off, so don't tear the ear apart. Check that it's on the same symmetrical to the other side, and then felt it down. You don't really don't need to do a lot with these ears. There's they're almost become sort of a second thought. Just have them so that they look roughly the same, sticking out on the side, even if they look very hairy and untidy. You can of course make perfect ears if you wish. Who am I to say you can't? Right, so ears are on. That's the cow looking at you now. And all I want to do now is make that little snout. Now for this, you mix a little of the brown and white top, but you're also actually, whilst you're doing this, you're actually going to make the fiber shorter at the same time. So you want to shorten these fibers by pulling really hard. So you're mixing them, but at the same time you're actually tearing them. Because what we want is, we want a new mix, but we don't want these ginormous long fibers. So you're actually shortening them at the same time. So you can already, it's probably a little bit too much, but you can shape this with your fingers into a little square shape. So to do this, you would just tuck the sides under, like this. And then you can lay this onto your mat and just secure that shape. So I've just tucked the wispy fibers under. Now there is a template on here, and the bit on the outside is what I've got now. And now I'm going to shrink it down to a much smaller size, but I have to lift it off my mat and felt it down. Get the wool felted down first. And then you're going to start shrinking it down into I don't really know what that shape is, but it's got sort of dents on the side. It's almost like a letter H. So you can go into the shape and at different angles, always lifting it off again, and then felt it down again. That was almost too long on my felting mat. So use your medium needle and don't go too deep into the shape, because you don't want it to fasten on just onto the mat. So this is the rough shape I've got here now. I just want to make this shape a little bit more distinct. Mind your fingers when you're doing this. Well, it's way bigger than that still, but I'm going to fasten it to the cow and probably can reduce the shape a lot more by doing so. Okay, so let's put this in onto his face there. Get it felted down. They do have big noses, Highland cows. So I'm following that shape, and at the same time I'm actually sort of shrinking the whole shape a little bit more as well. Yeah, that's it. So that's just the nose we're doing, okay? So these little dents, they're actually the nostrils. All the while you're shaping around the face again a little bit more. That's not bad. Some of these long hairs that are still in there, you can either pull them out or cut them off. Okay. That's definitely felted on, and I'm going to, I think we need to do a little bottom lip now. Yes. So with the same wool that you've mixed, you are now shaping like a little sausage shape. It's a bit fiddly. You can do it. I'm just going to give that a couple of stabs just so that it stays. And then you put this at the bottom there, and you're going to get that felted down as well. So get rid of all the wispy bits, because that is the bottom lip of the cow now. That needs to fit right underneath the nose. I'm twisting my needle around, I'm twisting the fibres around the needle like spaghetti around a fork to get rid of them. I've lost that little dent here, and then felt it down. So what you've got now is you've got a very distinct mouth from the nose, and you can shape around the face a little bit more as well. Now you can take more time doing this. I'm trying to fit all of this in to the time that I have got. If you don't like it, just take it off and start over. That's always the option. There. So you want to square that off. That's sort of what the purpose is, that it will look a little bit piggyish at some point. But what we're doing next is you're going to put the eyes in. And for this you will need your eyes, which I've got here. The nice thing about this cow is that really, if the face isn't that perfect, it will all come together once you've put the fringe and the horns and everything else on. But let's get the eyes in first. There, making a hole with my felting needle. Add the eye, one, and then you add the eye on the other side so that it's on the same level. Second eye. Make sure it's where you want it to be. That's it. And only when you are happy with the positioning, then you're going to use your glue bottle, add a dab of glue behind the eye without the eye coming out. Do that on both sides. We love these stick-it glues. I think we say it every time, so I'm going to write that down. Eyes and stick-it glue pen. Okay. here we go. And my hour is up, but I will finish this because I haven't got much to do. Whenever you needle felt on one area or work on one area, I can guarantee you will want to work on another area again. So do that if you must, but in any case, what happens next is that we need to make an indentation here on top of the head where the horns are going. So this is in front of the ears. Stab a groove in, which is why it wasn't that important that the top of the head was already bulged out. And so there is quite a clear groove here now. Now the horns aren't dry yet, but I know that you can work with a silk clay even when the horns aren't dry yet. And you can have them facing forward, you can have them up, you can have one forward, one back. They can be in all kinds of directions and positions. They're by no means necessarily symmetrical. And just add a generous dab of glue into that groove. And then you're going to put them on there like that. Okay, so the glue will help them to dry, and at the same time mine are really very soft still, so I could almost shape them still however I wanted to. But now you're going to take a mix of the this wool and the blonde. This is going to be your fringe wool, so you might want to have it slightly browner rather than blonde. But in any case, you're going to mix it as you've done before. Just put this to one side. And this is you're going to make, now mix a little orange, brown, a little white. So we need to add a bit of orange in there as well. So it has all the 3 tops in there that come in the kit. And we're making a nice fringe color now. Mix it. If you find you can't mix it, just you probably got too much wool in your hands to cope with, so you could split it and use less. In any case, when you've got that, you're going to lay this onto your cow, so you can see as soon as you've put the fringe on, that will make a huge difference. And then you're just going to felt that down onto his back here to secure on the back. And then you have to go around the front, and you could split it already if you wanted to, so have a little bit. You can put another strand there, but have one that goes down this side and just felt it down so that it actually stays in place. And then felt down the other side so it hangs over his eyes. So you could have one that hangs over the eye and the other one that doesn't. However you want to design your Highland cow. Like this, it could be like this. You could have a bit hanging down the side here as well, so you can add a little bit more. But all that is left now to do is really to give him his top coat. And the top coat is a mix between, and because you felted the horns into place now, the glue will do its bit and stick to it. The horns will dry, and like I say, you can certainly design the fringe if you wanted to. You could add another bit of wool, just mix it, and put it on the other side of the ear, so that it's hanging down. This is so much fun giving the cow this this hairdo. It's my favorite part. So you could add another bit here. Just felt it down. Just get it down at the back first, and then it can overhang the horn, and it can come down that side here. You just need to give it a couple of stabs so that to secure it, so that it doesn't come up again, and lay it over the top. Brush it out a bit there. Look, isn't that funny? I love that. Right, and then you're gonna have to cover the rest. And like I say, if your horns are still soft like mine, you can probably still position them however you like. But the rest of the cow is now going to be a mix between the orange and the brown wool. You're not using the blonde for that, so you're using this one and whatever you have got left over of this one, and you're mixing them, and you're felting this down so that the cow has got a middle parting on top of the back. So you don't want to go like this, you want to go like this, side to side. So that the hair hangs down and it's fastened on in the middle, like it's got a middle parting. Okay, so felt it down a little bit just to have it coming down in that direction. And it can come longer than the legs. You can trim it later if you want to make it a little bit neater. And I'm going to do one side so that at least one side of the cow is ready to show. Now you can add a tail at the very end, and it's literally just a little felted up part of the same wool. You just felt it into a strand and then attach it. So felt the wool down, and if you find you need to trim this off, then do so. But then you do the same on the other side, and the tail, I'll just show you that quickly, is just literally a little bit of the same wool mix that you used for the top. So a little bit like that. And you're going to felt that into a strand. Just it needs to look quite matted, like a matted little tail, because they've more got, so they haven't got much of a tail, to be honest. Not like big dairy cow or other cows that use their tails all the time to shoo the flies away. They seem to have more like sort of an afterthought of a tail, I think. And then just felt that down onto his back, and as you're putting the wool over the top for the strands, the tail almost gets lost a little bit, but this is what it really looks like. There's the tail, and there. Right, that is basically it. So not bad. Adding these layers will bulk up the cow as well, so it will get bigger, like more bulky, and that is the way to do it. So that's the Highland cow done. I've only slightly overrun, so I do apologize for that. But it's really lovely to see everybody here, and I'm just going to see who is still with us. Some of you have probably had to shoot off. And of course lots and lots of chat still going on, but I'm not going to indulge in it. What I will do is I will let you know what happens next week. The next live streams that are coming up is next week, the 16th of May, is the Marigold Fairy, which is our fairy box in May. And we have got then the surprise box make along for the 5 a day, and then at the end of this month we've got Busy Mr. Mole. Now I've got some other news that I will tell you. So first of all is that I'm going to give the live streams a bit of a break in June, July, and potentially into August. So that means that you will see tutorials, but they will be more to update what we've already got on our YouTube channel, and they need updating. I want to do lots of technical tips and all kinds of things, so you will see that, but there won't be a regular live streaming slot, so there will be probably more videos that will be uploaded. So apologies for that to start with. And then secondly, I will still do the unboxing, so I'll let you know about that. And then secondly, I'm almost certain that we're going to give our fairy boxes a break in July and August, and I won't even tell you why, but we are going to change things up with our fairy boxes. It doesn't mean to say you will be without a fairy. You will be getting fairies, I promise you, after the summer, but I want to change some things with the subscription boxes, and we just need to have a clear break. But as all of this is emerging, you don't need to do anything because we just suspend all of your subscription boxes. You can, of course, always change it to another subscription. I don't know how the technical side of it all works yet, because with it changing, you might not be signed up again. So I have no idea how this is going to work. I'm just giving you the heads up. June is definitely still a fairy box, and that's going to be our seashell fairy. And then July and August there will be a break, and I'm hoping to start it all up again in September, but September might still be a month without a fairy. I don't know yet. Lots of change happening. And just as a last thing, watch out. We are going to start a new subscription. And this is a membership. You can either be a member or a fellow. The distinction, I don't even need to go into right now, but there will be a distinction, and a fellow is a higher membership than a member. And that's usually because you've been a loyal customer of ours. But the subscription is going to be called the Maker's Flock subscription, and if you are a subscriber, then you're one of our flockists. That's basically all I will say. Now, there are lots of member advantages and perks, and you will get every month, we will send you something out, but all of that will become clearer when we're actually ready on the point of launching. At the moment we're at the point of design. I know exactly what it will do, but I will share all of this with you when it's ready for you to look at. And I am very excited by it, I will be honest, because there's going to be membership perks that we've never done before. So it's going to be quite an exciting new concept, and I hope that you will enjoy it. Yeah, and be sort of one of our flockists. Put you under my wings, but that's not what sheep do. Anyway, I really can't wait, and that's all I've got to say now. So if you left early, you missed it. Anyway, thank you so much for watching tonight. Thank you for Carol and Colette for keeping me company as well, and you company. And I will see you very soon, hopefully next week.